gym. Old stomping grounds. Hank Patterson, fly fishing guide.
Riley Smith, tight end.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Hey, you wouldn't happen to be the kicker?
No, tight end.
Again, thank you. I'm looking for a kicker for Lithia Ford's fall kickoff sale. But you're not the kicker.
No.
Yeah. Nah, the kicker's probably taller and in a lot better shape. So, okay. What position do you play?
Tight end.
Squats. Yeah, try it sometime.
I may be retired, but I still have finances to manage. With direct deposit and automatic payments, ICCU makes it easy to spend less time banking and more time baking.
RowPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics, is going all in this season with an all-star lineup. First up, he led the Broncos to 3 conference championships and 10 20-win seasons. It's Coach Leon Rice. Next, he's the founder and CEO of RowPaint.com. He played a little basketball in high school on the driveway with his mom. It's Andy Rowe.
Oh, no. Want to just paint my house?
Now that I can do.
When I want Boise State to win, I trust Coach Rice to lead the Broncos to victory.
And when I want the best painting and garage floor coating, I trust RowPaint.com to get that job done right.
It's time for Ball Talk with Sanford and Johnny. From what's happening on the blue at Boise State to the Mountain West and beyond. The biggest storylines, the best guests, and most outlandish opinions from 2 dudes who eat, sleep, and breathe college football. Today's broadcast is coming from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktail Studios. Check out one of their more than 30 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. Cutwater Canned Cocktails is perfect for your next game day tailgate party. Ball Talk with Sanford and Johnny, featuring former Boise State quarterback and longtime coach Mike Sanford, and KTIK 95.3 FM The Ticket's Johnny Mallory on Bronco Nation News.
Season 1, episode Sweet 16, Bronco Nation News, The Place, Ball Talk with Sanford and Johnny. Welcome to another edition. The gift that keeps on giving, that is Boise State's football team, does just that. Get your comments in. Plenty to talk about tonight. I'm Johnny Ballgame, my partner, my buddy, Coach Mike Sanford, Coach Ball Talk. And I was thinking about this, how I'm going to set you up for your intro here. Your alma mater, your beloved, your pride and joy when it comes to college football, the Boise State Broncos just won a conference championship. I believe you won a conference championship as a player in 2000, 2002, 2003, 2004, and then you came back. You were here 1 year as an offensive coordinator. You won that conference championship in 14. And I think you're going to probably claim part of this one, too, with how involved you've been. No. Coach, conference championship. What's up, man? Welcome to Ball Talk. How cool is that?
Yeah, man. Hey, so I've just been out here in Colorado. I heard, some things popped up on the X platform app. There's been some stuff going on in Boise since our last show 7 days ago. Let's just name a couple of those things that have happened in 7 days since our last Ball Talk show. All right, so preparing for a Mountain West Conference Championship. Go to set the all-time attendance record for the Mountain West Conference Championship. boat race UNLV, or as I said, I believe it was 3 weeks ago on Ball Talk, that if we got in and played UNLV, we would wreck UNLV. Did so by 26 points. What was
it was you never were in doubt ever.
46 to 20, 44 to 20. I mean, it was awesome. Waited around all Sunday. What's going on? What's going to happen? And then all of a sudden, some news starts leaking. And we got Spencer Danielson. He's in the seat that so many people, so many great coaches have occupied, and so many people across college football covet. And then 10 minutes after the press conference, TG10 announces that he has intention of entering the transfer portal. So just been a pretty ho-hum week in Boise, Idaho, huh, Johnny?
Isn't that crazy? Yeah. I mean, where do you go? You know, you want to talk TG10, his prospects, Ashton Genty. You forgot even to mention, obviously, what's going to go and be a really interesting offseason. Spencer Danielson said on KTIK today that he wants to stay Ashton Genty. They're doing everything they can to keep him. So I want to get in on that a little bit too. Just before we jump, let me go back to the Mountain West Championship, just briefly on that game. You've now seen Spencer Danielson, this team under him for 3 full games. What's impressed you, and what gives you the confidence, obviously, going into next season and the years after that Spencer Danielson's the man for this job, Coach?
Well, it just started with, I thought, just a tremendous start offensively. UNLV was a dangerous football team, and they showed early on in that football game the ability to score points. And I think from an offense perspective, the playbook was emptied, and it just felt like a vintage big platform, big stage Boise State vintage performance on both sides of the football. But I think that Spencer Danielson's put his stamp on this program in 3 games. And then a Mountain West championship. I think it's a unified team, a team that is hungry, a team that plays with a massive chip on their shoulder, a team that plays for each other and also play for their leader. And it's a team that is really fun to watch. And all of these ball games, the Utah State game, the Air Force game, and then the UNLV game, for me, there was never a doubt. When you saw the way the game started playing out, there was never a doubt. And I didn't have a doubt even before those games. I thought the UNLV game might play out a little bit closer than it did, but it was just a dominant performance and just an awesome way to cap off one of the most, I'd say it's the most dramatic season in Boise State history. I mean, outside of the passing of Pokey Allen, God rest his soul, this has been one of the most dynamic, and I say that in terms of up and down and drama and resolution. It's played out like a movie. And the hero of this story, I still say are those seniors, and the DJ Shrams and the George Halanis that I've talked so much about over the course of the last couple of weeks, because I mean, they've just led this program so well through such times, and then leaned heavily on, the emotional leader and the galvanizer in Spencer Danielson, who brought this thing together and did it in a way that he put his stamp on this program, and he took away any doubt, any question, who Jeremiah Dickey should hire. And I was a big proponent of
that's where you are on this too. Just he left no doubt. He forced Dickey to hire him. Period. End of story.
I don't like that. I don't like that phrase. I don't like that verb of forcing him. I just think that he put such a signature and left such an imprint on the vibe and feel and the way this team played, that it just answered all the questions that may have existed prior to that. And it's so hard to argue just with the way that the games were managed, the way that the team played for each other. It was just so beautiful to watch. And so I don't think he was forced, because I think that makes it sound like this wasn't Jeremiah's hire. I think that Spencer made it such a strong case of how much of his fingerprints were on this team, on their road to a very unlikely championship, to where Bronco Nation is fired up, and let's look down the road when down the road comes, very challenging schedule. Jeff Choate, another big news, a great Boise State coach, takes the job at the University of Nevada at Reno. We just call him Reno.
Yeah, you do. You old school guys. Yeah,
just Reno. But and there's a lot of storylines with all of this, but I think that we should all celebrate the accomplishments that Spencer Danielson and the staff and these players were able to do in such short order, when it was a 0.1% chance after the Fresno State loss that Boise State was going to make it to a Mountain West Conference championship game. And not only did they make it, but they made it with a massive exclamation point, and did so at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas in just an incredible environment.
Before we get to the mic drop, I had another thing that's kind of been running around in my head, and it's about keeping it in the family. And I didn't think Jeremiah was going to do it. And the more I think about it, maybe Boise State's this very successful kind of mom and pop organization. They like to promote from within. They like to develop. They like to grow. They like to build and establish trust. And when these key positions come available, they like to keep it in the family. There goes the expression. And I thought Jeremiah shouldn't do that. And I know a lot of people, I think you might even have been with me in that regard. Go outside the family, bring somebody else in. But is the family, and I know you're a member of it, and I'm sure even before this, you would have considered Spencer Danielson a member. He's been on staff for 7 stinking years. He's in this family. Maybe that's what makes Boise State special, or one of the reasons it is special, and they've been able to hit on just about every hire, except obviously Andy Avalos. That was a family hire, but for Jeremiah Dickey to go back into that family tool after he's experienced it now for a couple years and say, nope, Spencer Danielson's my guy. If I'm going to go down, I'm going down with him. Is there anything to that? Your thoughts? He kept it in the family, and maybe that is what makes this stinking thing so special on the blue.
Johnny, you're exactly right. I was on the same side as you, to be really honest. And it was after I'd gone to the New Mexico game and visited Boise. I haven't had boots on the ground. I've been, reporting on this team with just what I can see on the television. And after going there in person, seeing, former players, realizing just how much Boise's grown, but it still has the nature of a small town. At that point in time, after that firing that surprised every single one of us on that Monday morning or Sunday morning after the New Mexico game, my just horseback observation, instant reaction was, man, there is a lot of drama, and I think, Johnny, you've said that to me multiple times over the course of the last 10 weeks. And I didn't really understand it, but I felt it. There was a tension that was palpable. And I'll be honest, I did think that going outside the family, to kind of clean up maybe some of that drama that may have existed, just because it has been in-house for so long. And there are so many players that were recruited to Boise State or have coached at Boise State that have chosen to make Boise, Idaho their permanent home base and raising their families.
Yeah.
I mean, it's remarkable, and it makes going back so fun. But what Spencer answered, I think, for everybody, but definitely for me, is the way he unified everybody, the way he brought everybody together, the way that you see former players that played under him, and then former players that may or may not have ever met him that are just bought in because of the way that this team just inarguably came together and played for each other and played for one common mission. And he answered that question, and he answered it with a massive exclamation point. And it was so strong that there's no way you could have broken this up. There's absolutely no way.
It's Bronco Brew Coffee mic drop time with Coach Mike Sanford. A million places you can go on this Bronco Brew Coffee mic drop. Coach Sanford, have at it.
Well, I have to make a public apology. I didn't want to mislead Bronco Nation news and the Ball Talk Nation, which is a strong nation. We've actually created our own nation state that's independent with our own governance. I am actually the president And then Johnny has taken it kind of a different parliamentary style, and he's the prime minister. So it's a very unique nation that we do have. But as part of that, I wasn't able to watch the entire Mountain West Championship game. I have had the privilege and honor of being a part of a really awesome radio and TV situation here in Denver, and had a chance to call the state championship game at Canvas Stadium at CSU. It was my second trip to Canvas Stadium. I had a much worse first trip there in the loss that happened on that same field. But I had a chance to call the 5A state championship game and be the color commentary for Columbine winning their first state championship over Cherry Creek High School. Now, of course, I was calling with Nate Kreckman, who's covers the Mountain West so brilliantly in this Denver region. And so we had it up and on the screen. We were watching it. I was trying to call a game and also check in on the Broncos. I watched a decent bit of it, but I didn't have a chance to watch the whole thing. But what I can tell you is this. I have had a very awesome journey in the game of college football. I've had an unbelievable rise and then a very hard fall and everything in between, being an offensive coordinator, being a young head football coach, being a fired young head football coach, and then going through a bunch of ups and downs. The person that's gone through that with me and has been there every step of the way is Anne-Marie, my wife. 18 years now that we've been married. And if you don't think that these things are challenging and hard when you get fired, or even if you get this awesome job promotion that everybody's just celebrating and thinks it's the greatest thing ever, I mean, that's another place that I'm going to be leaving for 3 to 5 months. And then, your wife, Anne-Marie, my wife, has to pick up all the pieces and tie up all the loose ends and figure out the schools. And that's happened a lot, 14 times in 18 years, to be quite honest. And so, because of that, I think the nature of college football right now, to be honest, I've been burnt by some people that are very inauthentic as leaders. I've seen a toxic workplace environment several times in my career that going to work was literally one of the most awful things that you could do at 4:45 in the morning, knowing that you're going to be there till 1:15 in an environment that's straight toxic. My wife's gotten really bitter. I've gotten bitter about college football. And that's just us. That's me being just 100% transparent. Something very unique happened around, I'd say 5:15, right around 5:15 after the Cherry Creek Columbine game concluded. I got a call from Anne-Marie. I knew the outcome of the game, and I got a call from Anne-Marie, and she was bawling, as in BAWLING, in tears of joy. She had just watched Spencer's post-game comments, from the podium, the humility, the love, the genuine authenticity. And in that moment, Anne-Marie, who's gone through a lot as a head coach's wife, as a coordinator's wife, seen the ups, the downs, and everything in between, and a lot of the ugliness of college football, a lot of the backstabbing of college football, a lot of the misguiding and misleading of college football. In that moment, Anne-Marie told me, finally, a good one got his just due, and did so in tears. And that's exactly what I feel right now as an alum, as a former coach, as a place that takes great pride in this university. If you can move I won't give her age. We'll call her a 29-year-old woman, a wife of 18 years. So we got married clearly very young.
Okay.
With that math. But if you can move a woman to tears on that podium and restore their love for college football, restore their faith that there are good people that can finish first in college football, Spencer Danielson, you did well, brother. You did really well. And I can't wait to cheer you on. I can't wait to help you. I can't wait to support you. And I can't wait to continue to cover this program through the ups, the downs, because there are going to be ups and downs. It's just football. No matter where you're at, it's going to happen. But I am proud to be a Bronco. It was an outstanding day on Saturday, followed by an even better day on Sunday, and a great press conference today. So Bronco Nation, we got a lot to be proud of. Spencer Danielson, you moved my wife to tears, and you restored our faith that good things happen to good people. And with that, that's the mic drop.
Man, I had no idea where you were going with that. I love it. I thought you were maybe going to say something like, you took a job or somebody called you or something like that. And I know you.
I like to build it up. And
You're
get
just a
it
happy
really
fan. I love it. And gosh, moved to tears, huh? Spencer
Yeah,
Daniels
no, it was real. I mean, she
made your wife cry.
Mm-hmm. So I didn't get permission to tell that. So she's watching over there somewhere in the house. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, that was a really impactful moment, for us.
It's such a happy time with this program right now, except for the fact with this roster. And we're going to talk about the quarterback room, how pivotal quarterback rooms are. Coach Sanford's been in a million of them. And the quarterback room at Boise State, I believe, down to one scholarship player. You'll get Coach Sanford's thoughts in 90 seconds.
All Bronco Nation news broadcasts come from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktail Studios. Check out one of their more than 30 flavors of premix premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. Cutwater Spirits, perfect for your next game day tailgate party. Our title sponsor is rowpaint.com. For all your commercial, industrial, residential painting needs, check out rowpaint.com. Don't forget about their concrete coatings. Transform that ugly concrete slab on your back patio in your garage in just one day. Contact rowpaint.com for a free estimate today. The official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics, and our title sponsor at Bronco Nation News is rowpaint.com. Idaho Central Credit Union's been helping members achieve financial success for more than 80 years. There's an ICCU branch on almost every corner, but the closest is in your pocket with free eBranch mobile and online banking. See why more than 500,000 members love ICCU and join 1 in 4 Idahoans by making the switch today at ICCU.com. Since 1984, Ridley's Family Markets has prided itself on being a hometown food and drug store that employed value members of the local community. Ridley's Family Markets has 13 locations in the state of Idaho and many more in the surrounding states. Download the new Ridley's app to your smartphone, get savings up to 40% off at the checkout line, and find a location near you at shopridleys.com. Former Bronco Matt Bauscher is once again the number 1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley. No home is too big or too small for Matt and his team. Let them fulfill all your real estate needs at BauscherRealEstate.com.
Ball talk, Sanford and Johnny, the quarterback room. The Boise State, it's littered with players who've had a lot of success. They have those fat heads on the wall. You remember that in 2014, Coach, with all the guys. And it's a special place. It's probably a sacred spot for you. You've been in quarterback rooms as a player, as an assistant, as a head coach. The Boise State quarterback room, Taylor Green, not going to be a part of it. Colt Fulton, CJ Tiller. I don't believe Colt Fulton is on scholarship, Coach. I contacted Patrick Walsh, the SID. He said he was a walk-on. Tiller obviously is. I want you to design the perfect quarterback room for us on Ball Talk. But first, just your thoughts on you're playing a bowl game. It's a big bowl game for Boise State. You kidding me? This opportunity, everything in front of it. Colt Fulton,
it's Spencer Danielson's first game as the outright head coach.
You want to win it. Colt Fulton, CJ Tiller. What's Bush thinking here?
Well, I don't know a lot about how their development's gone. I mean, I remember CJ Tiller in the evaluation process a little bit. Colt Fulton's from Santa Margarita High School down in Southern California.
Carson Palmer.
Yeah, I don't have any inclination about where they stack up relative to each other. But we're gonna find out really soon. Unless one of our Ball Talk Nation listeners and viewers drops a fat check in the form of an NIL inducement in the direction of Taylor Green to keep him around, because let's not forget, all right, and I don't want to move on from Taylor Green because I don't think that I don't think that story is fully written yet. I think anytime that you put out that announcement, I mean, there's something there. Obviously, it's not nothing to use a double negative. But
so you still think there's a chance Taylor Green starts in the LA Bowl?
I mean, that'd be probably fairly far fetched. The thing that's going to be just wild about the bowl season this year is if you didn't play in the CFP and now it's affecting Group of 5, the amount of quarterbacks across college football in the transfer portal is mind blowing. Like Oregon State is playing Notre Dame. And not only is DJ Uiagalelei in the portal, I nailed that, by the way, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. Uiagalelei. Good job.
Yeah. But also Aiden Giles, who was the backup, he's listed as the number 1 portal quarterback on 247's ranking. So both of them are going to be out. And by the way, hey, Trent Bray, he's actually not even coaching as the
not coaching the game, so he really cares about it.
That's mind blowing. Never seen anything like that. I mean, college football. I said it this morning on Altitude. College football is drunk, high, and strung out all at the same time right now. It's
you said that in Colorado too, so everybody exactly grasped exactly what.
Oh, they're like, that's me right now, man. But yeah, it's crazy. But back to TG10, I don't think the chapter is closed. I don't necessarily promise or even have a feeling that he is going to be coming back. I'll tell you this guy right here, my phone, and I've coached a lot of different places. I've had a lot of people texting me and calling me and asking me for Taylon Green's number. Okay, first off,
give us one name, one school, just a school who called you about him.
The names have been changed to protect the innocent. I will not do that. But first off, the answer is I'm not responding to your boneheaded text. Power 5 school A, B, and C, and D, because this is my alma mater.
Really?
Heck no, man. I'm not doing that. That's freaking bananas.
You want Taylon here. He's the future. If you could choose that way, you want TG10.
That's just as a fan, as a guy that loves the quarterback position. I have a complete man crush on his potential as a high-end quarterback.
He's Superman, dude, physically.
And I wouldn't even let's not forget the way he finished last season was Mountain West Newcomer of the Year, and the way he finished this season was Mountain West Conference Championship game MVP. Okay. So don't forget about that. And I know there's been a lot of uneven aspects to it, but think about what Taylon Green's been through here at Boise State. I mean, he was brought here by Tim Plow. Am I right in saying that?
I think he had committed to Horse after that season, but I don't know. I think he was here as January enrollee, right?
So essentially, his career began with Tim Plow.
Yeah, it did.
As the offensive coordinator.
It did.
And then a midseason firing that led to Dirk Cutter, who, a completely different paradigm of training a quarterback, and obviously found incredible success with Dirk Cutter. And then Bush, this year, and a new voice, a new way to look at things. And while we all come from a similar tree, we're not all the same. And we don't all train the quarterback position the same way. Quarterback training is an art. It is. Quarterback development is an absolute art.
Mental exercise more so than a physical one, I would imagine.
And there's a lot that goes into, and I know it. I've been around it. There's a lot that goes into the position. No different than a closer or relief pitcher that's the setup guy in the 8th inning in baseball, where there's a lot more that you need to, as a coach, you need to manage with what happens between their ears, and managing their confidence, and managing, that athlete's perceived belief that you have in him. I mean, that's a real thing. And then this season, he's splitting time after being the Mountain West Conference player.
And that's being nice, right? He was getting his courtesy start, and then he wasn't throwing a pass, or he was throwing 1 or 2 passes. Yeah. No, Bush, it clearly felt preferred Maddox Madsen operating this.
I don't know that. I don't have the ability to make that judgment call. I don't. I really don't, because it took care of, quote unquote, everything worked out so that Taylon Green became the outright starter right as the coaching transition happened. So there is no perfect way to evaluate it all. I on the outside looking in, I don't. I'm not the guy that's trying to poke around and ask, hey, whose idea was that? Was that, that's just not me. And that's why I'm not a great journalist like you are, Johnny Ballgame.
No, of course.
I'm just full of hot air. I can talk, but I'm not going to dig around,
Okay. Well, let talk to me about this. I think there's about a dozen quarterbacks that you've coached that have played in the NFL. You've recruited out of high school. You've dipped into the portal. You've lost quarterbacks to the portal. You are an offensive coordinator right now. Taylon Green is available, and you are in the market for a Power 5 high-level group of 5 quarterback. I want you to evaluate Taylon Green for us and everybody watching Ball Talk. You've had a good chance to see him this year, Mike. You've seen a lot of him. I trust your evaluation on this. I'm not saying name programs there where he'll go, but just the evaluation process. If it was you looking at TG10, going back to your head coach saying, no, boosters, NIL, no, we want this kid. How do you think you would grade him?
Well, 2022, I came into a situation at the University of Colorado where the quarterback room was essentially already full by the time I got there. And so there was nothing that I could do with regards to adding a portal quarterback. And it was a great room of great people. There were players that had different skill sets, but ultimately I could say this with full clarity after seeing Talon play in person 2 different times. He would have been outright the starter at the University of Colorado. And I know that comes with a caveat. We had a horrible year. But there are programs, Power 5 programs, that the missing ingredient is a quarterback. And if you have some flaws on your offensive side of the ball, whether it be offensive line issues, whether it be maybe limited amounts of downfield pass catching threats, what is the one thing, Johnny, and I'll let you answer this question. What's the one thing out of the quarterback position that is a great equalizer if you are limited in other spots? Tell me.
What about the quarterback is
what trait, if you're a Power 5 program that needs to win like in 2024, and you might be flawed in the offensive line, or you might be flawed in your downfield playmaking, what's the great equalizer at the quarterback position? What is it?
The great equalizer. I don't exactly get the question, but here's where I'll say.
I'll just tell you.
No, can I answer first and be wrong, and then you can tell all of us the right answer?
Dang it! I really wanted to look smart,
but
clearly I didn't pose that question very well.
There's gonna be a 3rd and 7, okay? And if you have a Superman at quarterback, there's gonna be a point in the game. It's gonna be 3rd and 7, and if you don't pick it up, you're probably not going to win. For me in football and watching it and covering it and whatnot, the quarterback is that great equalizer. There's going to be 3rd and long. And even if the line is messed up or whatever, the receivers aren't outstanding. The great quarterbacks find a way to move the chain. I don't know if I saw that with
You did, but
you were going.
Where
But
I was going is a 6'6", 220-pound statue.
Yeah.
And you're flawed everywhere else, around you that can't move. That's a recipe for 0-12. A superhuman athlete that can get you out of trouble because you're not protecting well. That's the great equalizer. And that is why TG10 has tremendous value to Power 5 programs. Now, I'm not saying he's going to go be the starting quarterback at Alabama next year. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah.
But there are Power 5 programs. I was one of them where to find an athlete that he's put on film, like if all things break down, he has the physical giftedness to take off and run. And that is the great equalizer. And that's where the game is moving towards. The game isn't moving towards who's the better passer, who throws a tighter spiral. Well, cool. You can believe that. You can put it in the chat box here. But guess what? You're playing 2004 football. This isn't 2004 anymore. Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback in the National Football League right now, arguably. I mean, you could say Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy's an unbelievable athlete and a tremendous extender of plays and can move the chains. He did it against Philly yesterday. Patrick Mahomes is a tremendous athlete. Josh Allen. I mean, none of them are this statue of a quarterback who looks really good, and when they're throwing in their gym shorts, like I hate that.
Gym shorts.
Yeah, he was so good at the Elite 11. You can take your Elite 11 and put it where the sun doesn't shine. Give me an athlete and give me a guy that's got some war daddy in him, and I'll freaking go make him a quarterback.
What makes the perfect quarterback room? Coach Sanford in 90 seconds.
Bronco Nation News is sponsored by Tommy Alquist and Ball Ventures Alquist, Idaho's premier commercial real estate development company. BVA projects specialize in office, retail, flex, medical, and industrial spaces located at some of the most strategic and visible locations in the valley. Need a developer? Looking for new space? Think BVA. At BVA, we are Idaho's developer. The Nicolason family and SON management have proudly been operating Taco Bell restaurants in and around the Treasure Valley since 1969. One of the first to make a 7-figure donation to the Lyle Smith Society, they've also stepped up their support of Boise State athletics with the Taco Bell men's and women's basketball endowed scholarships. The Nicolason family and SON Management have committed at least $310,000 by 2026. Get more information on their financial support of Boise State Athletics and find information on applying to work at Taco Bell at TacoBellWorks.com. Lithia Ford of Boise is a proud supporter of Boise State Athletics and the official car and truck of the Broncos. Lithia Ford of Boise supports Bronco student athletes through NIL deals, including providing Ford vehicles to Taylon Green and Riley Smith from the football team and Paige Barsh from the volleyball team. Rain's family purchased our F-150 from Lithia Ford. Couldn't be happier with the purchase. Check out the all-electric F-150 Lightning or the electric Mustang Mach-E at Lithia Ford, and make sure to check out their full inventory of vehicles at LithiaFordBoise.com. The Blue and Orange Store is the perfect spot to get all your gear for your next Bronco game. The Blue and Orange Store has official Nike apparel, including jerseys, shirts, sweatshirts, jackets, hats, and more. Wear what the Broncos wear and get it at the Blue and Orange Store, the second floor of the Boise Town Square Mall, or get free shipping on a $40 order online at theblueandorangestore.com.
I've heard so many stories, ex-NFL players, quarterbacks, high-level college quarterbacks, you, Coach Sanford, just about the quarterback room. The amount of time that you guys spend with each other, quarterback coach, OC, most cases both in college, all the quarterbacks, everything that you go through. Take us through a day in a quarterback room and kind of design the perfect quarterback room.
Yeah, let's look at that more from a personnel's perspective, because if I go through a full day, we'll lose all our viewership because we'll be on here till 2 a.m. Yeah, but
Okay.
we'll talk about the construct, the construction of the quarterback room. Obviously, ideally, you want to go into a season. I've always wanted to go into a season with just an undoubted, just starting quarterback. Like that's the perfect scenario.
The guy, capital
Right,
T,
like-
capital G.
Yes,
The guy. Okay.
And you want that. You need that. And like a great example of that was 2014. And I didn't put the quarterback room together.
Okay.
I added to it, but that was Grant Hedrick. Like he was the guy that you knew knew the offense, had so many traits that you're looking for in your starting quarterback. And for me, I was so excited because he could run. He ran like a 4.5 240. Like the dude could go, super accurate, made really good reads, was like I've said on this program multiple times, just a great, he played the game exactly as I saw it in the box. It was awesome.
You
Now,
and Grant, you just had that connection. You thought
incredible.
it, he was executing it, and you're just like, I love this dude.
Yeah, and I got to the same spot with I got to the exact same spot with Deshaun Kaiser. I think just being able to play the game through their lens and know what to expect. If a blitz came, this was where the ball was going. This is how their read progression was going, and then my eyes from the box were going through their reads. And it's amazing how few quarterbacks do that. I mean, we're having issues here in Denver with Russ. I mean, Russ, again, he's not a get to number 3 in his progression guy for whatever reason. And, I think your number 2, I've always wanted my number 2 to be a guy that maybe has a developmental space to grow. Like he's got room to grow physically. He's got some,
that was your Ryan Finley in 2014.
100%.
Okay.
Ryan Finley. But I love when that guy has a personality, is kind of, for lack of a better term, kind of a smart ass.
The backup quarterback
kind of
have an edge,
kind of competitor, and is always kind of just nudging the starter and just poking the bear and just getting under their skin. I mean, Ryan Finley played that role to absolute perfection.
Nice.
But then you also want that guy to be fully invested in the game plan. You want them to be almost better than the starter. So the starter feels like they're just nipping at their heels. And then you also want that guy to take tremendous ownership of the signal operation. And that's super important. Your third guy, I think the third guy, ideally, you want him to be the guy that is going to stay in the program irregardless. It almost like an NFL backup, that is a lifetime backup. Give me an example of
Mike Sanford at Boise State.
I mean, I was the second guy, but
NFL, just hanging in the league,
a
McCown brother.
Yeah. You want McCown. You want freaking Luke McCown or Owen McCown or no, Josh. McCown. You want Josh McCown. That's exactly what you want. And you want somebody who is just rock solid, like shows up every day, ready to work, always looking to get better, always looking to improve, and is there for the long haul, loves the place. And then you want that rookie quarterback, man, that the number 1 and number 2 are scared to death of.
The project, right?
Yeah.
You're hoping he doesn't figure it out, because when he does, we're all screwed. Yeah.
Yep.
That
And
felt like Talon a couple of years ago when Jack Sears and Hank would talk about him. Just to
yeah, I think that's a very, very good point. And that guy can go multiple ways, especially now in the portal era. They might get bored or they might get frustrated and they might jump in, but you want somebody that has some physical gifts that are scary. And I know Brett Rippon, for example, I mean, he was an incoming, a recruited freshman, a kid that I had a chance to be a part of his recruiting process. And everybody's like, that guy's good, man. Like, he's cerebral, he's accurate, like he's got feel. But he was young, he looked like a child when he came in. So that's an ideal construct. I think the Boise State quarterback room I just described, but one of the quarterback rooms that I'm really proud of, and I mentioned on the show once before, we had a reunion recently. It was at Utah State in 2019. Jordan Love, who, by the way, is playing the best football in the National Football League over the last 3 weeks.
Okay, yeah, he's been terrific.
He is. He's 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Believe it or not, for all the flack he took, he's 5th in the National Football League in touchdown passes. So just to lob that out there. But Jordan Love was the starter. Okay. Number 2 was Henry Colombi. Henry Colombi is awesome. And he is exactly that, just poking fun at everybody. And Henry Colombi ended up, when I left for Minnesota, he left and rejoined Matt Wells and Yost at Texas Tech and started at Texas Tech.
Yeah, he did.
And then once there was a coaching change there, he went to Marshall and started at Marshall and beat Notre Dame in Notre Dame Stadium in Marcus.
That was him starting for Marshall.
Yes. And then the third string quarterback was this young freak show that was just wiry and all over. Like, it was Andrew Peasley and
Wyoming,
and he's Wyoming starting quarterback. I know he didn't have a great day on the blue, but he's had a lot of really good days for Wyoming's program. And that
started a lot of games at this level. Yeah,
yep.
That was your quarterback room in Logan. And then
you want to know who the fourth one? It was Cooper Lega. We brought him in. I recruited Cooper, and he's been seems like started. He started in the LA Bowl 2020. As a freshman, and he was the player of the game, came out of nowhere.
Right.
Starting quarterback got hurt, Logan Bonner, and he goes in and just balls out. That was an awesome room and a deep room, and just so fun to develop and so fun to be a part of. And shoot, we even now we have, we get back together. We're all basically part of, we're the Band-Aids for Jordan Love. We're kind of like his groupies. We follow him around now.
Yes.
So,
you guys spend a lot of time together in those quarterback rooms. Do you love leading a quarterback room? I mean, does it fire you up when it's your room? Your guys, you're teaching, you're showing them tape, you're the good, the bad, and the ugly. You guys are cracking jokes. I know your personality. I mean, you want to make it fun. Yeah. You want to do all this stuff. Maybe you have ice cream Tuesdays or something.
Believe it or not, there are so many shenanigans that take place because you're inevitably spending so much time. And I actually sat at it when I was a really young coach, like 26 years old, 27 years old. Bill O'Brien gave at the American Football Coaches Association convention, he gave a talk. And, of course you're like, this guy's coached for the Patriots. Yeah. He's it's Bill O'Brien. And he seems like a hard ass. He seems like a kind of a, like a guy who's just going to get up there and just basically this is what you got to do. Bing, bing, bing,
total
bing,
hard ass. He seems like
and it was
Brady stuff. Yeah.
It was so cool. Like, at least then, and I don't know if he trained, but he was the head coach, a brand new head coach at Penn State. And at least then he said that my job and our job as coaches, because the game is so demanding, because the time now, the commitment from the athletes and your staff is so much that you got to do everything in your power to take away. And I remember this term, the sheer drudgery of what you do, because it can get that way and get heavy and get kind of, you just get into this routine and it gets just boring and monotonous. And I love that term. So I took that as a very young coach. And I always personally wanted to make sure that my position room was being developed better than any other like position rooms in the conference. That was always my standard.
Okay.
And I wanted it, and I wanted to develop the number one guy, and just as well as I developed a walk-on guy that was number 5 or 6. Like, and I always said I did a good job this year if number 5 and number 6 took humongous strides, because you're only evaluated on what probably 1 does, maybe 2. And then there's been years where I've had to play 4 quarterbacks because of injury. And CU last year, we started a total of 4 quarterbacks in the season, just because of injury, because of transfer, because of a head coach that got let go. But yeah, it's important to develop the entire room, and it's important to take out that sheer drudgery. Now that we're talking about it, you can tell this is something I love. That's the one thing that, like if I'm going to look back, I miss the quarterback room. Like that's real. And I actually haven't thought about missing the quarterback room until you brought it up, man. You're scratching the dang itch. Quit doing it, brother.
I got you guys. For everybody watching this, I got a million of these type of questions that coach can bring us kind of inside the building. So I'm trying to save one for each show because we do have all this other stuff to talk about. But I watched the game from the press box, and everybody sees in college football, you have the 3 backup quarterbacks typically wearing the gear, and they're doing the hand signals. And, you assume one of them is the actual signal. The other 2 quarterbacks are bluffing. You had to do that for 4 years on the Blue. You were hand signal guy. I would imagine, knowing you, that you probably would have been all whack in backup quarterback hand signals. I bet you just nailed it.
I'm gonna be really honest.
The entire hand signal thing. What's going on?
I'm gonna be really honest here, okay? And I'm also gonna be very humble, because I could say a lot of different things with regards to the signaling operation and myself, a 4-year signaler, and then also even currently the signaler at Meade High School.
Okay,
I'm the signaler. I am the greatest signaler in the history of college football.
We didn't pre-show this. We did not go over this. I had no idea he was going to say that, but I knew he'd have something good.
Take, baby.
Right, why?
Well, first off, the creativity, because when you played for Chris Peterson, there were new plays every week.
Okay.
And I'll be honest, I was mentored by an ultimate sensei in BJ Rohde. He was a fantastic signaler. Signaler.
Okay.
And so I took a lot of pride in the signal operation, but when Coach Pete would come up with all these new signals, and mind you, this was before the age of smartphones and social media. So there were, some of our new signals that were new plays that BJ Rohde and I came up with. And then when BJ graduated, I came up with, they weren't exactly appropriate, Johnny, or even close to appropriate. And so like they had some innuendos to them. They had some, there was a lot going on there. But when you fully commit to it and you're tight with your body language and you're tight with, like, you sell it, you sell that signal. And I think that the signaler in college football, I think that's the first thing that the players see on the field. And so if you're just kind of like, what kind of tone are you setting? I mean, come on. And then the other key, there's a lot of different ways to signal. There's at Boise State when I played there, and then also when I coached there, and I think it's changed since then. The signaler, there was 1 live signaler and 2 fake signalers. Okay. And we all wore headsets. Only one of them was actually connected to anything real.
Wow. The other 2 are just dummy headsets.
They were dead. They were old Dale Holstein's old throwaways, man, from back in 1997.
Nate Sparks wore that headset.
Nate Sparks, what a name, brother. But those, the key, it's an art, man. It's an art. Is that the 2 fake signalers, they can't try to signal the same signal catalog as your actual offense. However, I've always trained that other signaler or 2 to do your high school offenses signals. Maybe now it's your previous institution that you transferred from. Do their signals, and then the key I always thought is and it becomes an art, is that the end of the signal is with a clap, and all 3 guys, they had to kind of periph. And they can't look at him, but they had to periph the live signaler And when they saw the beginning of that clap, boom, all three are together. Connor Stallions has nothing on that. Nothing.
Yes. Okay. So because you don't want to essentially kind of call the same thing. Do you switch them up? I mean, is your same guy the call guy all season? And like, do you want to work your way up? Do you start off not getting like when you become the signal caller that gets the audio headset? Is that a notch on your belt? Are you like, hey, I'm moving up?
Notch. Yeah. And I believe I was a 3-year starter as a signaler. I mean,
people need to talk. Those are key roles in the team. And
honestly, and I know I'm kind of being funny about it because I'm basically bragging about a job that nobody wants to do, especially a scholarship quarterback.
That's not your job, but you want as a scholarship quarterback.
But honestly,
hey, Bart, you get that? Okay, Bart. I thought I held 2. Bart, did you actually see 4? Okay, Bart. Sorry, man.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
Hey,
but
RG, you like that call? Yeah, I love it, man.
But what I would say about it all is that I think that very nature of how even passionate I am, 20 years later, 20 years after I was a signaler in 2004, so 19 years ago, dude, like that shows that even me being a product of the culture that existed at Boise State, that every single role mattered, and it mattered a lot.
Okay.
And if you take incredible pride in what you do, whether you're a signaler, whether you're, holding up the personnel boards for the defensive coordinator, but if you're doing that with unbelievable energy, unbelievable passion, and unbelievable ownership, that's how you build a really special football program. And I think in this transfer portal era, everybody's just looking at, we brought this guy and we brought this. What happened to roles? What happened to just like grasping roles? And I'll tell you a team that's done it really well. And in this transfer portal era is the University of Washington Husky program. Yes, they brought in transfers, but they had a prerequisite when Kalen DeBoer got there, is that they were only going to take transfers in the portal insofar as they were a captain of their previous institution on the football team. And that to me shows that there's a culture, there's ownership. You see it with how they play. You see it with how they go about their business. And so before everybody gets so caught up in names in the portal, you got to also think about what kind of humans they are, and don't get caught up in where they came from. Oh, they came from Alabama. Well, that might be because they were an absolute turd at Alabama and Alabama wanted nothing to do with them. Guess what? If you were a turd at Alabama, personally, in your character, you're probably going to be a turd in Boise, Idaho as well.
So Alabama misses too. Yep. They all miss.
Yeah, there's no question. And I think that's a big part of it, is this ownership and accountability and pride that you take in your role.
So there's 3 quarterbacks signaling in. One quarterback has the audio and they're calling the actual signal. The other 2 guys are making it up. They're not calling other Boise State plays that they just won't run. Like,
well, the reason you don't want to do that is when you're on the far hash, and say a guy just ran a post route and caught a touchdown. Yeah. I mean, don't forget in a helmet when you're running or jogging, like the picture's moving. Like that's a real thing. Like the picture, like I know you played football, like the picture moves in the dang helmet. And like, if you don't think it does, hey, go borrow your kid's helmet. I'm talking to the viewers, and put it on and go run and try to catch a ball right now and tell me it's super easy. All right. Mm-hmm. So when you're signaling, and you don't want them giving the signal and confusing who's live and who's not in the heat of the battle. So it's not worth it. And so when you see a bunch of shenanigans and you're 38 yards away because you just ran a post route and you're on the opposite hash from where the sideline is, that's something that you want there to be a clearly defined signaler. Okay. Another good story. All right. So Grant Hedrick, anytime he wasn't like playing in a game or anytime he wasn't taking the live reps at practice, Niner was an unbelievable signaler. And he took such pride in it. Like even in the Air Force game, when we turned the ball over an ungodly amount of time, he goes over, pissed off. He gets replaced by Finley in the game. And you know what Niner did? He signaled his freaking butt off.
He did.
He signaled.
Was he the actual signaler? He had the headset.
Live. Yeah, he was live. And he went from being the starting quarterback, to signaling, and not one time did it look like, his body language stinks. And I was watching it from the box. I wanted to see his reaction. I want to see his response. And that's like, I'm like, we got a dude here. And then
you never wavered, because that was a big point of contention. I talked about it on sports radio. It was a little quarterback controversy for about a couple of days until you guys said there wasn't. You never had a thought, hey, maybe I'm going to give this thing to Finley.
No, I mean, at the time, I really believed in him, but I knew Finley was going to be a really good player. I just think developmentally and body, I don't think he was going to be able to handle it that year. And it played out the next year, right? Didn't Finley break his leg in the opening game? And
then ended up being very prolific in the ACC, got drafted. So,
and he's been playing for a long time.
He's making a lot of money.
Yeah.
He's still collecting checks. I'm sure he's on somebody's practice squad right now or whatever. If I went to a game with you, or you sat in the press box with me, do you think in most cases you could spot out, you look at the three quarterbacks, you could say, yep, that's the live one? I bet you could. Huh?
I could.
Yeah. But most guys
and who's to say that, I'm not spotlighting and moonlighting as, maybe a signal stealer for some big Power 5 program that might still be active in the CFP. Who knows?
Could you do it if you had to?
No, I could, but I would never.
You would never do that. You would never.
I'd have to take a bath in hand sanitizer after that.
I've never sat next to you and watched a game. That we need to check off because.
Oh yeah, it's something else. Ask Anne Marie, man. I love watching the amount of things. And what's so funny is we go to a lot of Broncos games, and there's people we rub elbows with in our neighborhood and our community here, and they're all in these nice suites and all these club seats. I always go like level 500 or whatever, the balcony. And I love being in the end zone, man. I love the end zone copy, watching all the different run schemes, seeing the pressures, watching the rotation of the safeties. I just love being up there. And I love just narrating the game. And the best is when there's some drunk, NFL, fan just, you suck. These guys are the worst. What are you doing, Russ? And then I start breaking it down calmly for him. And by the end, he's like looking at me like I have 10 heads. It's so fun. And I don't tell him who I am or anything.
I love it. Hey, I want to get your thoughts on Ashton Genty and if you think they have a legit shot at keeping him. What do you think it'll cost? Let's talk a little Ashton Genty in 90 seconds. It's Ball Talk, BNN.
You looking for a new job? Well, how about getting into the trucking industry? Our friends at Transportation Compliance Service can help you every step of the way, whether it's the big rig on your screen, the Amazon truck in your neighborhood, all the paperwork, all the things you need. Let them help you out. Transcomservice.com. They'll have you out there towing that first load in no time. Transcomservice.com. United Commercial Insurance makes business insurance easy. They can write business policy insurance in 44 states around the country. UnitedCommercialInsurance.com. Give them a call, 229-8222. Bronco Nation News, a proud client of United Commercial Insurance. We highly recommend you do as well at UnitedCommercialInsurance.com. The Raines family is happy to have made the switch to Boise Dentistry Co. Highly recommend you do as well. Dr. Miner and his staff, full family dentistry for the whole family. They make it an enjoyable experience to go to the dentist, and we highly recommend you check them out. 5 locations in the Treasure Valley. You may think you're happy with your dentist. You'll be even happier if you make the switch to Dr. Miner and Company. Check them out online, BoiseDentistryCo.com. The pounds continue to fall off, and it's thanks to Dave and our friends over at Lean Feast. Check them out, leanfeast.com/Meridian. Full customizable meal prep. You want to go into the store, pick out your meals individually. That's great. It's right there on Eagle Road in Meridian. Or you can do it all online at leanfeast.com/Meridian, and they'll deliver it to you. 208-487-5782. They're feeding the football team, the basketball team, Taylon Green, Ashton Genty, Tyson Degenhart, and more. Check them out. Lean Feast, leanfeast.com/Meridian. Still time to get that fall round of golf in, and you need to do it at Timberstone Golf Course out in Caldwell. Book a tee time at playtimberstone.com. The best greens in the valley, new technology, new golf carts, friendly environment, fun, challenging course. Check them out, Timberstone Golf Course. Book your tee time today, and I'll see you out there. PlayTimberstone.com.
All right, a couple of minutes left here on Ball Talk. All right, Coach. You've paid close attention to Spencer Danielson. You were the one after that opening wash to Washington where he gets up and says, "This is totally on me." You've been a fan of him since. I think you can kind of speak the same coaching language as him. I think there's some connection there with you too. Spencer Danielson needs to find a way to keep Ashton Genty in this program. And it's not just him saying, "I love you." He also has to say, "And here's the bag of cash, and here's how much is in it." That's just the deal. How, if you were doing this and you're trying to convince maybe the best player on your team to stick around, how much money, if this was you, would you feel comfortable going into that room and sitting down with Ashton Genty and his family and saying, "Here's what you're going to get at Boise State, and here's what we can provide you financially, maybe with an automobile or whatever. Coach Mike Sanford, what do you think, Spencer Danielson? What do you think coaches, what do they do in this world right now?
I think everybody's trying to figure it out, and partially the reason that I'm not in love with the offseason of college football. I think just think about it. Saturday was just this moment of elation as a Boise State fan, and then here we are, offseason's already started. TG10's in the portal 10 minutes after the celebration of Spencer Danielson at a press conference. I mean, it's just a wild time. I don't know the exact numbers out there. Okay. I don't. I hear them. They're rumors. I don't even really understand how these like $500,000 deals go down. I don't know if there's contracts. I don't know if everybody that gets these deals are actually getting all that money in reality. I don't know what happens if they get injured. I don't know what happens if, they don't end up getting playing time. Like, I think everybody's in a state right now of like, what is actually happening and what is actually going on to make the comment about exactly what the dollar figure is. I don't know. But I do know this. I know that I believe from watching college football and commenting on it on national media outlets and doing it here in the Denver Metro, I think that the best two running backs in college football, and I feel strongly about this, I think it's Ashton Jeanty 1 and Blake Corum 2. And so I think that the Alabamas and Georgias are going to be in hot pursuit of Ashton Jeanty. And to be real honest, the only thing that would prevent Ashton Jeanty from going and taking those is an unbelievable, like just a love and loyalty to this place, to this program, and to Spencer Danielson. I mean, it's a real challenge, man. I mean, and
that's the one position too, Coach. If you have the opportunity to make massive money in college, more so than a star quarterback or a pass rusher who knows they're going to be a first-round pick and knows they're going to get a second and third contract if, in fact, they do play at the level that people are picking them to play at. Running back, you could be the best back in the league. No, we're franchise tagging you. No, we're not giving you another deal. So it's even like, I mean, does that change anything you think? I mean, are those words in Ashton Jeanty and his parents and his family's ear? I mean, have you experienced that where people do tell him, hey, you're a running back. Look at these NFL salaries. You got to get paid. The great running backs now, you're going to have to start earning that money in college.
Yep. Right now. Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, the short of it is, there's a real shelf life on the running back position.
Yeah.
It's the bottom line.
Best running back you ever coached? Christian McCaffrey? Is that a no-brainer for Sanford?
The most impactful on my career is J.J., and it's not even close.
What's the Mike Sanford Mount Rushmore of running backs you've personally coached? You get 4 now.
Okay, so I'm going to go Stephon Taylor, Stanford. Unbelievable, 1,500 yards almost every year, 3-year career. J.J. without question. And then I'm gonna go. I'm gonna throw Jeremy McNichols up there, man. Just an absolute dog because of his ability to be a pass catcher, run go routes, run sluggo, and then also tote the rock.
Yeah, not a lot of backs run sluggo, do they?
No,
Marshall
pretty
Falk
rare.
and Jeremy McNichols.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. Just a unique skill set. And then Christian McCaffrey, who I'd never had the opportunity to coach. I was a running back coach that offered him and recruited him. But I'm close enough to the family and have that I feel a connection to Christian. But unfortunately, I had to coach against him when I was at Notre Dame, and so I was kicking my own self for for that recruitment when he was going off on us.
I was watching that Amazon. So that's your Mount Rushmore of running backs. Those are your 4 that you've coached. I was watching that Amazon Barry Sanders documentary. I love Barry. We're about the same age, so we grew up football the same time, seeing those guys at about the same age, and I'm sure you have your Barry thoughts just like I do growing up, but he's there with his kids in the dock. And I remember, one of his kids went to Stanford.
I recruited him. Yeah.
I bet old Sanford recruited Barry Sanders Jr. And in doing that, I know sleazy Sanford squeaked his way into the Barry circle and probably hung out with Barry Sanders. Coach, do you have
True.
do you have a Barry story? You met him recruiting his kid?
I do. And this is an admission of a recruiting violation. Okay. So I think the statute of limitations is beyond 10 years. So we're good. So Barry J. Sanders is Barry Sanders' son. And, awesome young man, ended up signing with Stanford. Just a really good player. Had some of the same in space instincts, as a runner. So I recruited him. He had a ton of recruitment. He was getting recruited by Alabama, Oklahoma State when they were rolling, which is obviously where his dad played. So it was a major recruiting win at the time. He's a 4-star kid.
I remember.
And, went to Heritage Hall High School. Really awesome, high-level academic private school. He was actually teammates and classmates with Sterling Shepard, the big-time receiver from Oklahoma. So the two of them
where's the school located?
In Oklahoma City,
Okay.
Heritage Hall High School in Oklahoma City. And they're playing against like small private schools, and it was hilarious to watch Sterling Shepard and Barry J. Sanders just put on. It was like
these little kids.
It was like playing Madden on like super rookie mode. It was ridiculous. So I made a lot of trips to Oklahoma City. I think I went there 7 times over the process. And got really close with his high school head coach. And but the best part was I went to one of his games, and it was before we were in the contact period. So it was just an evaluation period. So I was hanging around the facility at the high school for about 3 hours. Like I attended like the pregame walkthrough. I just was hanging out with the coaching staff. And, even at the time I was trying to do things the right way and not have any contact with Barry J other than just a quick little, hey, handshake. Hey, I can't talk to you type deal.
Okay.
Well, then all of a sudden, sitting in the facility, in walks Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I was a child. I turned into a 9-year-old.
You've seen a million famous football people, but when you see Barry, it's different, huh?
It was
Barry. Yeah.
It hit different, brother.
Yep. I'm with you.
And so I geeked out, right? And so because he's a parent of the athlete, I'm not allowed to have any contact with him.
Oh, okay.
But I went blank in that moment. Okay. And so I asked if I could take, so we talk. I'm like, just excited. He was such a good dude, so even keeled, a great father.
He was interested in Stanford. Barry
yeah.
was.
Oh yeah.
He loved the fact that Stanford was there to see his kid.
Oh, he loved the fact that his son would have a Stanford degree and what that would do for his life. And Barry J is doing unbelievable professionally with his life. But in that moment, I asked for a picture. Okay. So I got a picture. I actually looked for it. I couldn't find it, which is tragic. But I got a picture of me and Barry. Okay. And then I send the picture because I'm so stinking excited to the offensive coordinator at Stanford, Pep Hamilton, and David Shaw. And I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever. And then it got quiet, no response. And like 25 minutes later, I see a phone call from David Shaw. And he's like, hey, Mike, you realize that's a recruiting violation. I'm like, oh, you're right. I'm so sorry. So we self-reported it, nothing big. I just said I got caught up in the sauce.
Report it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did the whole thing. But yeah, so I turned into a 9-year-old child, and in doing so, I broke an NCAA recruiting rule. Not a big one. It's
Barry Sanders,
one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny. I mean, I took a picture.
When you were able to meet him and actually talk to him and recruit the kid, and did you go to their house? What's Barry Sanders' house look like?
Awesome.
Did you see his Heisman?
Man,
yes, it's probably at his parents' house or something, knowing Barry.
Well,
but
and then Barry's been really tied in with the EA Sports crew. He's like a major investor with EA Sports.
I never knew that.
I got to meet some of the EA Sports, like the big wigs with EA Sports. And then Barry at the Oklahoma City airport had an EA Sports Barry Sanders store. So there was a lot of things that I had a chance to kind of see and meet some people that were tied in with EA Sports. It was really cool.
Dude, you're Christian McCaffrey and Barry Sanders had the greatest 2 running back seasons in college football history. Ajayi is crazy, like in the top 10 if you really crunch the receiving numbers too. But if you look at Barry in 88, and I'm not sure the McCaffrey year, 15 or 16, I can't remember what year it was, 14, but though. I mean, it's just crazy the numbers that they were able to put up. I knew
I got to
you'd
throw
have
Toby
to
Gerhardt
score.
on there too, man.
Oh,
Toby
Gerhardt,
Gerhardt.
sweet.
Yep. I have to throw Tobin Bo Gunnar Gerhardt was his full name. Tobin Bo Gunnar Gerhardt. Just an
Toby
absolute-
Gerhardt. They had some tough guys at
Oh, yeah.
Stanford. Like you guys were the smartest and toughest team in the Pac-10 at the time. You were.
We called it intellectual brutality. That was
You had a name for it. You
was
did.
coined by Mike Bloomgren, head coach at Rice. Intellectual brutality.
You guys were tough going to Rose Bowls, having Nobel Peace Prize winners in the future and all these scholars. That must have been fun. You coached in the Ivy League too. People know that. So, is it clearly different when you're in the Stanford quarterback room versus another quarterback room you've been in? Just the vibe.
You know what's mind blowing is the walk-ons that got into Stanford without any assistance with Ackett, because they look at athletics as a slight boost to get you admitted into Stanford. It's not a major boost. So it's not like there's, your team is like full of not smart guys, but the people that get into Stanford on their complete own, which was like a walk-on quarterback, their intellect was on a different wavelength than anybody I've ever come into contact with in my life.
You noticed how smart they are.
And just like some of the you get on Excel and try to work on something, and all of a sudden, hey, coach, I can help you. Boom. Holy smokes. You just built the pass efficiency rating into Excel in 14 seconds.
The stuff you do, the stuff that happens, strange things are afoot in the Stanford football facility. I bet that's a blast. Coach,
it's unbelievable.
Let's get our Circus Sports pick 6. Let's update people real quick. We picked all 10 conference championship games last week. Going into this week, my record 27-20. Coach was 24-22-1. So you were 2 losses ahead of me. I'm 3 wins ahead of you. It's really close. I don't want to go through every game and bore everybody. Coach, I was 6 out of 10. I went 6-4 last week in the conference championships. What'd you go? What'd you do? You weren't prepped for this segment? You forgot?
You sent it to me.
I went 6-4. I won 6 out of the 10 games, and I did text it to you. What did that the hell? You said you were on fire. I get a text from
I was on fire.
Dude, I just nailed our picks. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I was over 500. What'd you do?
I did got Washington correct. How much did Texas end up winning by?
They covered.
Okay. This isn't great. I got Boise State correct. I got Bama correct. I got SMU correct. I got Troy correct. I got did Florida State cover?
Yes.
So I was 5 out of 10.
Okay, I was 6. You were 5. So you are now 29-27-1. Coach, I don't know. We'll finish up with the New Year's 6.
Okay.
That'll be our final Circus Sports pick 6, and then we'll throw in the Boise State game when we do Ball Talk next week. But unless you can have a massive New Year's 6 comeback, you're going to have to give me your game-worn Fort Worth Bull jersey as a Boise State quarterback, stitched on everything, and I'm looking forward to that.
We shook on it, man,
Yeah.
So,
you're going to give me a game-worn jersey. I love it, man. Hey, great stuff tonight.
I signaled my tail off in that game, and I also held a whole bunch of field goals and PATs in that jersey.
Give me a play call. Give me a signal, man. Give me a real one. Give me a signal. Ryan Dinwiddie to Tim Gilligan touchdown, probably in Ruston. Sanford with the call. Give me a hand signal you would give RD that you scored on or something.
Okay, here we go. All right, so there you go. Here you got. Sorry, sky's out right there, big boy. All right, here we go. All right, I'm gonna give you here. Okay, we're gonna go shift, far left, slot. We're gonna go fake, zing, play pass, right, flood.
Well, and what's Gilligan's route on that? Is he the flood?
He's the corner route runner, is the slot with a little return motion. You got to take post by the outside receiver. We're under center. We're at offset with the fullback to the open side, tight end on the backside's checking 4, and then running a check corner out to hold the backside safety. Take post, alert versus cover 4. If you get a single high safety, you're reading the flat defender. You're going corner to your fullback who's going to check protection and get into the flat, and then your tailback's checking protection and getting right over the ball.
What are you doing if you call a play and I'll drop an F-bomb. You're fucking certain that it's going to be cover 2. They've come out in that all year in this spot on the field, that down, that distance. God damn it. You're telling the head coach on the headset, Harse, they're gonna be in a cover 2. They're gonna. And you call a play and you can pre-snap it and you drop another F-bomb and say, oh, F, they're not going to be in a cover 2. Is that just kind of the trials and tribulations of being a play caller and an OC?
That's why you build
on it.
That's why you build in a check system. That's why you build in and you see every NFL Sunday you hear, hey, can. They're going to play call number 2, which might be built for cover 2. First one is built for cover 3 or cover 4, and then you check it to a run versus cover 2. And so in that same formation, you could be far left slot, fake zing, play pass right flood, and you could run 92 lead, which would be weak side ISO or 94
Would you
weak.
signal that in on your signal? You would signal
That's
can.
when you start getting into the cans, that's when you start going in the wristband space.
Okay, that's a lot. Yeah.
Then you know what that would have been? If we had a can onto it because they played cover 2 against 21 personnel with a fullback and tight end, and 2 wide receivers, you'd go wristband, and then you'd go 1-5. Or you go in that'd be a left hash call. So you keep it. If that was on the right hash, you'd go flip, wristband, 1-5, flip. And then the quarterback has to read it. And now it turns into far right slot on the right hash, fake zing, play pass left flood, can 95 weak.
Do defensive coordinators, good ones, can they scare a young quarterback out of? Yes. I mean, and you're like,
the entire NFL. Just watch the NFL. It's a freaking pre-snap. I mean, I watched Robert Saleh's defense. I'm like, how does anybody identify what the coverage is pre-snap? How can anybody identify where the pressure's coming from? There's like human beings just running around pre-snap all over the place.
Saleh's good at what he does. That's a good
man.
He's good. He's good.
Big fan. Big fan.
Okay. Yeah, because you can talk to the quarterback and the quarterback's going to say, well, dude, they gave me this look. You tell me if I get this look, we're going to run the ball. We're checking out. And then when I did that, they were in the run defense. And you say, yeah, that's because they disguised it. They wanted you to check to a lesser play or whatever. So that's a conversation you have.
And that's where cadence variables come into play, right? And if you do have a quick cadence, like at Stanford, we had a cadence that was literally called ducks. And ducks ball was snapped on 43 set, hut, ball's coming out. But then we also had double ducks, which would be 43 set, hut, 43 set, hut. And then it was all, hey, can, because now you get them to declare and show their hand.
All right, man. You're the best, dude. Ball Talk episode 17
in the
next
books,
Monday.
baby. In the books.
All right, man. Good stuff.
Hey, man. I don't really have anybody. There's no game to root for this week. Heads up to you, Johnny. Heads up to Ball Talk Nation. I will be at the Monday Night Football game in New York to watch the Packers take on the Giants. So we will most likely have to move Ball Talk to probably Wednesday of next week.
It's a bowl week. It's calm.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. But just follow everybody on social media. We'll let you know when the next edition of Ball Talk is with Sanford and Johnny. Bronco Nation News. Hey, we'll catch